This October 16th, sorry. Board meeting to order. Our mission is to provide a supportive and safe learning environment where all students are encouraged and empowered to reach their educational and personal potential.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any changes or anything to the agenda?
Yeah, just I checked in with Andrea and a couple others just now, but Division 22, I'm gonna cross that off. And just full transparency, I didn't have the time to finish it these last couple weeks, and every time I sit down to try to do it, it's just a long, tedious process. I'm supposed to present it, all districts are before November 1st. I called ODE and left a message and said, can I put that on the November board agenda? Worst case scenario, they tell us no, and we have to find a time before November 1st to meet. I think they're going to tell us yes. Cross fingers.
Okay.
I did really well on it the last 2 years, and hopefully that gives some grace. So stay tuned. And we're in compliance on most of it. I like to do that while it's a nice reminder of all the expectations, and it's. Yeah, I can run through it and say, well, last year it was this, and here's these few other things, but I actually like doing the process well to remind myself also, like, here's the things that I should do. So, and then student report, we didn't have school yesterday. It turns out, like, that's a nice break sometimes to get some stuff done. It's also, you don't get to, it's very disruptive, and you don't get to do the things on Tuesday that you normally do to prepare for Wednesday. And so today has been just reeling. So Tony was sitting here, and I asked Tony to share at least one thing on us when we get to the student report. So Tony's building up the courage over there to do that for us. So stay tuned. So that is not my car. But otherwise, I think the agenda is the same.
Any public comment? No? All right. Wilson Architecture. Anything new from him?
Just a short, my mate, windows, okay. I did put a couple things just here. So I shared the timeline with you all from Kurt, and I pulled kind of the steps through October 28th up, and it's not funny. The main thing I wanted to report is, like, he's staying on track with that, and Friday they were out here and did the step of going back out to every time I get that wrong button. I really think slideshow should be where share is. Okay, so those were the first 7 steps that went through the end of October, and you guys have the full email for that, but these first 3 steps have happened, including the visit to, sorry. Thanks. They were out at the building on Friday, and so that takes us through step 3, and then the week of the 21st, which is next week, I expect the conversation about confirming the priority areas and these next steps to 4 and 5 to happen. So mostly the slide is just a reminder that this, and in making this public, like, there's a timeline, and that it's following along that timeline exactly, which is nice. Any questions on, that's not a ton of information, but there's steps. And I know this is on, I can bring this slide up again at the end, but because it relates to that, I just wanted to, like, talk about when that's done, what there's some top priority facilities goals right now. The first one is, not connected to the middle school building. I think the rest, a lot of the rest are, but not all of them. But over at the elementary campus, we are, on Friday, power washing the 2 sidewalks that are between the library and 5th, 6th, and then between kinder and kinder 1, 2, and 2, 3. Those 2 sidewalks, and I don't know if people know what outdoor sensory or what sensory pathways are, but we're getting from 4J the materials to paint those onto those 2 sidewalks. Outdoor ones are great. Indoor sensory rooms are a need as well right now.
I don't know what an outdoor.
This is a texture.
Okay, so I tried to send picture. That's what I was doing when you went in. I can't get the pictures. Can I walk around and show you the picture real quick? This is so weird, but so think hopscotch. I'm gonna say that for a second. Like, it's like really intentional activities that meet sensory. Like, there's a lot of
Is it things to do to encourage them to move through?
Yeah, so like there's
The
numbers
area.
and letters and those kind of things, but some of it's jumping, some of it you want to put in like a twisting and turning, and so like there's lots of sensory input in kids who are are either have not advanced through certain sensory needs and are learning. So there's like stimulus that they need, but like perception, and there's all these big words that match each of those. There's ones where you like push on the wall or have like a sandbag at the end for heavy work, but these are all things that regulate students who are sensory seeking. And for some of our kiddos, especially I shared, we have some kinders this year who have really intensive needs and are on the autism spectrum. A lot of times those needs are sensory, and so we're working on a sensory room that has even more activities for students, but we're space limited right now. I'll explain that in a second. But the outdoor is a start towards that. And I'll give you this is an indoor picture, but you'll see the, this is from my visit to that whole.
Have you seen this have you seen it working? Have you seen kids utilize this?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was in 4J, however many years ago, they were putting, so it's actually this piece. It's this piece, but in the outdoor setting. So this piece along here, and then you'll see like imprints on the walls and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So these kind of things, and then imprints on the wall.
Oh,
And so these types of sorry,
Yes, honey, I know, I see that.
yeah. So like all of these pieces kind of go together, and you can put those on outdoor.
that doesn't keep them from getting to class.
No, well, and some of the point is to actually get to class. So where we're putting it between those is actually you do those activities, and it regulates so that entering class is a better experience. And so they talk about sensory diets and sensory breaks and all these things. It's part of occupational therapy. These are the tools they use to support kiddos. So and turns out lots of kids enjoy doing it. So it's not I mean, it serves everybody, but it's very intentional for some kids. So there's different activities in here. It's like staying along, balance, got some numbers, things, the hands on the wall, or something.
That's over in the elementary.
This, we're gonna put a version of this that, so 4J has all the stencils for the outdoor painting portion of it, and they're lending them to us so that we can paint those, and it'll be on the 2 walkways of the tree. Did I point the right way for?
Yeah, you did.
Yes. So we're hoping like within 2 weeks that those are there and be used. And then the other piece of this is, once that building is abated, asbestos abatement, then the weight room, don't ask me where to put it. Thank you. We want to move that back to where it used to be on the back of the, middle school building in order to move, like have a permanent performing arts, space. And even in the back of that, I think there's room for like, some of the podcasting equipment and that kind of stuff, for some recording as well. And then that'll open permanently a room over at elementary. Right now we use it for performing arts, and so we can't set all this stuff up. And
that would be
and then
essential.
1 hour a day. Yeah, exactly. 1 hour a day, it's our performing arts space, so we can't have it serving both purposes very well right now. So that's the shifts we're looking at. And I did walk it with Tim, and we talked through. We know there's lots of storage needs.
Yeah.
in that too.
No, so you're thinking down in where it used to be down there.
I think so. Yeah, as the current, there may be other ways to look at it there, but
have a lot of stuff.
the long, yeah.
No, but it's not that. It's just, it's not a very, anyway, there's some other issues with it, like it gets water in it and stuff. I don't like it, so. We should talk.
Let's keep talking. Randy and Tim and I, in different conversations, had talked about where the water's going to, and that wasn't what was named. So let's make sure I have all that information, because I know it comes in that hallway door, and is definitely there. But yeah, we're gonna
It has come in on the other side too sometimes.
maybe.
Well, a drain issue or like 3.
Yeah, it's something, maybe, angle. Yeah.
And I wonder if that's something while we're renovating.
Yeah, maybe more.
For the flooring.
Yeah,
if we
that's
have
what it's
something
do it then.
Is that where it was when you were in school? Is that where the weight room was? John? No?
That was way before my time.
Oh,
It was-
okay.
Tell her I'm too young for that.
That's where it was.
Picking up hay.
Trees.
Oh,
Second children's. That's our way.
My sixth
just totally.
Yeah.
Function. Yeah.
The middle school is the weight room.
The weight room was-
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
The weight room was at the pool when we were in school.
Yeah.
And then the weight room was there.
Yeah.
And then it got moved.
Yeah.
When Abby was in school, it was at.
It was
in the middle school.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you were in
But yeah,
school.
we tried to.
But before that, it was at,
Yeah, at the pool, yeah, there was one, that was at the pool, and we were in
Yeah.
elementary school, yeah.
Is our staff doing the stenciling?
So I have an OT, we have an OT we contract with who's bringing the stuff out. She and I are gonna meet about how much work it is and that kind of stuff. I haven't seen all the pieces to it. Maybe staff, actually, students, that's a great community service opportunity, and so I may set it up for a Friday opportunity. I haven't nailed that down. I need to see it. But they're sending us the paint too, which is nice, and then based on what we use, we'll just, we're gonna replenish.
Yeah.
Based on what gets used
That's a
up.
good idea.
So, it was great, like I reached out and said, here's what we need in the short term. I heard you have stencils, and she's like, absolutely we do. Not only that, we have that. So we're just, right now we're getting stuff to the right spot.
that's
So,
amazing.
so yeah, and then that's what would open the sensory space and have better setup to be supporting kiddos with high needs right now. So, and the one other thing I'll say about sensory rooms, like, and I showed the piece of that picture, but I have other pictures if you want to see more, and I'll try to get these to go. Wi-Fi was not really nice today, but they're really good, like they're necessary for students with autism, We also have a lot of sensory seeking students in general, especially across K-3. And so having that space will allow us to meet more needs. And it's not recess. Like you see something like that and you think, oh, the kids just go in there and run wild. It's a very structured experience where they're learning how to take a quick break, meet their sensory needs, and then come back in. And then over time, you start to build that same thing into how do you do that in the space where you're learning and not need those breaks all the time. And so it's a very structured experience. And OT in Bethel is the one that tourists over there, and then they've offered for our staff to go over on Fridays and do some both training and shadowing with people who run their rooms. So we got a lot of support coming. It just doesn't go fast enough right now. So nothing does except time. And then we said those, and then I can't remember if I shared this last month, but I put on there the track shed roof. Jesse Kosichka is working on that for his senior project and getting cost sheets put together and all sorts of stuff like that's moving. And then the stairs to the track, it's funny, I just was on a tour with some folks today. When we were walking up there, this needs work. Sure does. You want to help? So starting to explore options there of like, do you just re-pour? Like once it's crumbling, it's not an easy.
Yeah.
You don't just re-pour over it. It seems like that would be easy, and so I don't know the options yet, but we're starting to talk to people about it. So.
Do we have to have that as an entrance? Like it has been, but we have the road that goes up and now we have that other road
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Just something to think about, like, do we have, maybe replacing it is the best option, but if we have.
Taking it out might actually be better, and then
I don't know if it's because I like it where it is, because it's always been that way. I don't like change, but it might make more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, they do a lot of exercises on the stairs, don't they?
That the thing is, in the grandstand you can do that too.
And
There's some covered, like they're not. I mean, there's bigger poison.
It's not safe. The stairs as it is, they're like, but if they're not even, but if
It was cost effective place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know
but
they
I
were
do-
handy.
in terms of workouts, it's a great hill to
It's a
work out
workout to
on.
walk up.
Yeah. Yep. So
When you don't intend it to be a workout.
Yes, yeah, we did a walk with some folks today, looking at some stuff, and you can tell you get to the top of that and everybody's talking a little slower. It's like we're all pretending we're not breathing hard. I know what this is because I'm breathing hard. Anyway, so that's kind of top priorities right now, and quite a few are connected to that making plan. So,
For sure.
you ready?
Oh my gosh.
So I talked to Tony in the hall and said, like, if you were gonna share one thing, you don't need a full report. A lot of times we sit and talk with kids and like actually plan for this and not throw them on the spot, but said if you were gonna share one thing, what would it be? And there was a change in your PBL class.
Oh.
And so I think it's an important way to see how these classes are responsive to student needs and opportunities. And so if you want to tell a little bit about which PBL you're in and how it has changed and worked.
Okay. I'm in media PBL with Mr. Blanchard, so this classroom. And so last year I was like, I don't know, we didn't have really much structure last year, and so like during the start of the period we'd have us like talk about us, and like after that, like each person would like do their own thing. And so like some people would be taking photos, some people would be like writing on the boards, and some people would be working on the yearbook, like knock. And I was like, and I think PBLs happened like later in the year, didn't they?
This was the one put together the latest. So student media was an addition that semester, I think.
Yeah, and
And the rest had kind of this learning curve to them. So this one's coming behind.
Yeah, and so I was like, it was fun though, because like we were all like rushing about the yearbook at the end, so, getting photos and stuff. But it was really fun. But like this year now, Mr. Blanchard's starting to structure it more, and like instead of letting us like roam free, because like I know some of like at the end of the day everyone's like, oh, they go home and like are real like relax and stuff, but like now we're like in the classroom and studying, and he's teaching us more about like media in itself, like photos and like taking photos and perspective and like the elements of art and how you incorporate it into taking photos and stuff. And so starting to get more structured. I kind of like that too.
Yeah. And it's not every day you hear a student come in and say, actually, more structure was what we needed.
Not
And
common.
last year they had the urgency of the yearbook that they drove a lot of it, and then that openness this year is kind of like without that. You do, and we see kids like still learning how to manage that space with that much freedom, and so I was going to ask you multimedia. There was something you told me. Passion projects. So like, where do you see that going into, like, when we were talking out there, you said we're going to learn these, but what's the actual goal?
Mr. Winter is having us like learn our own passion projects and stuff like that. And then what he was doing before, he'd like have us like report, like I think it was the start or the end of the week on what we're doing, how we can accomplish it, and what we succeeded at the end of the week. And then some people were like, I think Kim was doing like, what was it, like student of the month or something like that, I can't remember. And I was doing like social media and stuff like that. But like it's gone to a pause right now because you know we're all in the classroom and Mr. Blanchard's like teaching us more about stuff. So that's on the pause right now, but right now I think I like the passion project and it's very fun.
How many students in the class?
I think it's like 7 to 9, I can't remember. But yeah.
I was going to say 10, somewhere.
Somewhere.
10, yeah.
Thanks. That's good to hear. I mean, you know, I would never have known that that's what's going on in that class. I'm not sure that's the thanks.
And quite a few of our staff have backgrounds in multimedia spaces, and so their expertise looping in and really teaching the skills piece is exciting. So
Is that a full year class?
yeah.
They do PBL all year.
Yeah. At semester, we offer a chance
I
to
was gonna say.
to
maybe
advocate
change
for switch.
Right.
Yeah, so there's a process that semester to say, hey, I want to switch to a different PBL course, and they have to tell what they've accomplished and how they've been a good participant in their first semester course and why they're interested in switching over. So
But you can't stay in one class the
all
whole
year. Yeah, but most of our students do. In all honesty, but we open that space. So
What are the options? There's
multimedia,
Culinary.
and culinary,
Construction, business, gardening. I think that's it.
electronics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Electronics, yeah.
And Tony, you were part of the group that wrote the media release last year about the PBLs, right?
Oh yeah, that was with Courtney and
Yeah.
and like Jaren uploaded it to the website. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're now sharing that work. So
Thanks.
that wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't.
You did
was wonderful.
So
fun.
also, Tony, you're on cross country.
Yeah.
And has been the full-time participant. Like more students joined and the team's bigger now, but Tony from day one was out there.
Yay.
So what's the next meet?
The next is this Saturday at Cottage Grove. So that is Kalea's old stomping ground.
Mine too.
That's right.
That means you have to run extra fast.
Is it many schools meet? Like,
Yeah.
like is it a,
Multiple school districts come under and then race under JV girls, JV boys, varsity girls, and varsity boys.
Would it help if I chase after you when you run by my house?
I did used to use that trick to make myself run faster. Like something was chasing me
Something
that I
behind
didn't like.
Yeah, Tony, I just whispered over here that might be a sore spot, but I'll tell them later why.
Oh, I don't mind. I literally don't mind.
So, do you want to share it?
Oh yeah, a dog bit me up, Chestnut.
oh,
While running
no.
the track.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Did it make you run faster?
No, it like stopped.
Don't send the dogs. Crazy lady runs. I think that.
Is Tony gonna be our
Gonna do it.
liaison?
We tend to from student government, we'll change it out over time, kind of each month. Some of it's based on availability and just
Or what's happening.
yeah, and getting different perspective of what's going on campus and stuff. So, but yeah, today it just worked out.
Tony, you know basketball's not happening tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, Jim, okay.
Oh, I didn't, so that's good.
Yeah, no one was, there was no supervisors, because we had to do my job tonight, and Tucker has something else going on. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah.
A few other, I'll run through these quick, but farm to table connections, some different things. Just I want to acknowledge we just submitted a grant with Saves the Watershed for the expansion of it's a cool project. Everybody cross fingers with this thing. Almost $700,000. Learn, do, teach, 3-year project. First year, planting the native plant nursery as an extension of the current garden, and obviously learning the pieces that go along with, I don't know all the words for that, but cultivating native plants. And then second year would be reforesting and taking out the bad plants and putting in the good plants in various spots on campus. Spoken like
No.
I told somebody. Yeah, I told somebody the other day, like, I'm clearly the only person that's not a gardener around here. Because I'm like, what are the words? Anyway, and then students getting that experience, learning it on campus, and then year 3 to teach would be consulting with homes and businesses in the whole region that don't currently qualify for the native plant distribution because you have to be on the water, and we'd be able to extend that program with Watershed into reforesting and planting the good stuff and taking out the bad stuff in all spaces. So yeah, we're excited about that.
And who's that through?
It's a federal grant.
Yeah, Oregon Department of Forestry.
Yeah.
They have
Or
federal,
state,
they have,
yeah.
it's through the state, but they have
Yeah.
federal money, and then the state is distributing it.
And there's a second one coming in what?
December.
December it's due for infrastructure for more infrastructure for the native plant nursery is kind of so we're going after both of those, and we got both great, but writing one helps you be able to get the others. So.
Do those dovetail with the PBL?
Absolutely. Yeah, all of this is expansions and extensions. Yeah.
Garden.
Yeah, so yep, all those are getting built into
Mhm.
this approach, and this helps us build the capacity to be able to keep funding and scaling that. And then cell phones, I'll say in general, much less phone use than prior years. Like it's just not part of what they're doing. There are kind of feels like every couple weeks we need reminders of like, no, that's still a thing. And so this last week we met in our staff meeting to reinforce past routines and are putting like carrying, having permission. And what I'll say about PBL is we give a lot of freedom in 7th period to be doing things. And I would say 80% of students at all times are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And given that much flexibility, sometimes they need some restraint. And so some of this is putting in some new routines and expectations for, hey, when you have freedom, you got to be where you're supposed to be and doing what you're supposed to be doing. And so we are reinforcing that. Also, we have some new spaces on campus, including the library. So kind of troubleshooting how to make sure people are where they're supposed to be, and we all know where they are.
And what does this have to do with cell
And
phones?
then, well, so because where we're seeing the most use is not in class, it's when you go to the bathroom or go to the next spot. So as we tighten those routines and expectations, then there's less, oh, I'm over here on my phone. So, still where the majority of use happens is in that I left class, sometimes the bathroom. I walked in there the other day and just went like this, and kids don't argue. It's like, oh, here you go. And they understand the expectation. It's just, sometimes they're on their phone and they shouldn't be. So, oh, our student report. Yeah,
Also, could you put that slideshow so I could see it?
yes, bigger.
But, you know, that's their ages to, I mean, they're learning.
Yeah,
They're
and
supposed to push limits.
it is, and it's for us, like, it's that regular, and just that reminder of the why, and we talked a lot about, you know, mental health connections with cell phones, and so, we are, do you have something to add about
Yeah.
cell phones?
No, I'm kind of interjecting all that like, on my report, but today we also had like, I don't know if I can talk about, we had like a fentanyl.
Oh, yeah,
meeting today,
yeah.
so it's like really interesting.
Yeah.
Can we talk about
Yeah, I'll come back to that in 1 second, because it'll loop into number 4 there as
See,
well.
not so bad, yeah. I'll put it in.
Yeah, so I just can't, that's why we usually meet in the daytime and talk through these things, and it just didn't happen. But, anyway, so yeah, cell phones in general, it's just that regular reminder. I don't think we talked about this last time, I think I just talked one-on-one, with folks, but, right, in other districts, the purchase of, those like cell phone bags, I don't know what they're called, but, where they're kind of locked up for the day and you can't open it and get to it, and, I've seen, right, obviously that gives less access to kids during the day, which ultimately is probably healthier, and, I think what I've seen in a lot of the media and social media responses is like that, like, but how do I get a hold of my kid in an emergency? And I hate that we have to think that way, but kids having phones is also a comfort, right? And so I think the way that we do this navigates both of those to say, hey, kids, we trust you, and we don't actually trust you to have it out on your desk during class, right? So let's put those things and then keep reminding, how do we have these things in a healthy way versus like, I'll tell you, before I came here and when I was in the classroom, I was of the opinion, like, let's teach them how to use it as a tool, and was like actively trying to build it into being a good tool in the classroom. And the more I've learned, there's just too much stimulus and distraction that that doesn't necessarily need to be the approach. And we actually have computers in every classroom. We can use those as a tool for all the same
Well, and
things.
ultimately, they're not going away. So learning the responsibility of it and having them see the good and the bad of what, you know, they wasted their time on or not, you know, it's an ongoing battle, but it's a good opportunity for them to learn that.
What about notifications? Do we require kids to turn their notifications off? Because, you know, all of us know the minute we hear that sound, we
Yeah, so
get that
I mean,
response.
it can't be making noise in class. I mean,
Well, I
the
think they have it off
expectation
so
is that it's, yeah.
If anything did happen, they're out.
Yeah,
I
so,
don't know any kid that has their.
Actually, I remind myself to turn it on because
Yeah.
then they don't get when I'm trying to get home at a
No
decent
kid
time.
has it dinging, only adults.
Yeah.
Like older adults do that. I've never had my phone make a sound.
that's,
I've seen a lot of kids with the sound on.
Mine is.
or maybe.
Yeah, yours is just
I mean,
Yeah.
Speaking of which, my son is calling and you can't hear him.
Yeah.
So,
Good, nice work.
So by default, they have to have them turned off. Or
Okay.
at least the sound turned off, because if it makes sound, now it's not put away and it's ours.
And the
So
buzzing and the.
yeah, that is,
on silent.
They're generally.
So the notifications aren't like on do not disturb, but their phones are silent.
yeah, exactly. I mean,
They're
and we're
all
not gonna,
Like even in our school, we have them locked in their lockers and the cell phone lockers that they have a key to, and the sounds are always off. If they're
Yeah.
not, like you got, like I don't want to sit here
And
and
listen
listen
to
to vibrate.
it.
So turn it off.
Yeah.
I don't care if they just turn it on airplane mode or whatever. It just sounds off. But
Yeah. But that said, they are getting notifications through the whole day, whether they're on or off, and that's the reason for
not.
like that's the reason what the research says is that's the thing that's the problem.
It's
So
not the problem.
yeah.
Exactly.
So, but overall, I think we've done a good job implementing it in a way that honors that they use it, you know, and we have a couple students with some built-in breaks and that we're working, like built-in break doesn't mean you go sit on your phone, like that's still the expectation, and so it's not perfect, and it really is limited to a couple students. So.
It's nice because we're creating new habits.
Yeah.
And healthier habits. And from a school board standpoint, you know, we're responsible to the taxpayers to educate kids. And that's our primary focus. So the phone doesn't really play a healthy role in that. And so I'm happy, and I'm happy to be on this side of things.
Yeah.
It's, you know, we started this, is this our second year? This is our second
Year 2. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, you know, you've been hearing it on the news, there's a lot of districts that have just been jumping on.
So, just to like, I just want to clear my understanding. So, in the classroom, we're not having issues with like the phones out.
That
The issue is like when they leave to go to the bathroom, or like during PBLs when they're walking from construction down to gardening, they're pulling them out. So they're needing reinforcement that during class time, phones are off, and you're kind of pushing the rules that you're pulling them out because it's technically passing.
and we're
not doing something right.
yeah,
You're not in class sitting at a desk and technically my phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
those are the things where it's like, but okay, and that's happening less than even last year because it's an expectation.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah. Tony, I might call you up, but do you remember my first year? No. Gosh. It must have been the beginning of last year. Anyway, we did student listening sessions. I'm off on my years now, but and students were coming up with ideas for improving the school. And do you remember yours? It was about cell phones and that we should find a way to support each other, and not to quote you, but pretty close to exact words were like, oh no, if you don't make it a rule, I'm going to use it all the time, but I shouldn't. and it was this conversation in that group. It was when we were in houses. And so your house was talking, and there was this like, no, we don't want that rule. And then this acknowledgement of, but we need that rule. But Tony, you were the one that brought it up and offered some suggestions for how to do it. And so, even if you don't remember, I do. So, anyway, got to that one. Some community engagement events coming up. The 25th. Oh yeah, October 25th. We're doing an engagement, Lane ESD and Sayusla Vision and Sayusla High School and our high schoolers community wellness group are coming together to generate, actually to unpack some problems at practice that they've identified for the community, and then some community partners are coming in and working with them on some ideation for improving them. So kind of a cool, and then that will carry over to our integrated plans. So kind of an exciting thing. They've come out twice to work with our students on identifying problems of practice and going through some protocols there. So yeah.
And just like what that looks like. I mean, I saw the email invitation right now, and just what it looks like is just there were, I think, some students like, hey, we don't have a driver's ed class here, like in Mapleton, you know, and some people can't access stuff, or you can't get your, you know, it's difficult for students here to get access to the DMV stuff. So drive, but being able to drive is such a key thing for students to be able to get around out here. Stuff like that. That was one of them. Places to hang out, safe places to hang out that are not, you know, directly tied to sports or the school day and things like that. So those were ideas that I think came out and others.
Yeah, and we'll share back after the 25th to say here's the ones they went deep into and some ideas they had. Halloween, we've always done at elementary, and kudos to Cassie, helps organize and make it a fun event, and that community wellness kids are extending that into an evening carnival as well, and we'll have some folks, community partners there to table, but then fun activities to provide a space for people to come hang out.
So they'll do like the afternoon carnival as normal.
Yep. An
Continue on
extension.
after school.
Yeah, and then 4 to 7 p.m. Yep. And then those last two just, or did I say everything? I think I did. Oh, and then in early November, we'll do the, we're moving the date that we originally picked. Ended up the same week as that event. And I was like, we can't have 2 late night events for families, but, I think I had shared at some point, the goal is to invite about 1/10 of families to a dinner once a month. So, and then culinary will feed them, and we'll do some engagement with families and have a new 10th each month. So the first one will kick this off in November. And then Hoots and Peace Health, just acknowledging that Hoots is here and seeing students regularly. I got to meet with them today, and it's going well. A great resource for our kids. And then Peace Health is hiring 2 positions. We have things out on Facebook and other spaces trying to recruit. If you know anybody licensed in any mental health, social work space, tell them they should apply because we need them. And then Tony stepped out. I was just going to look back to him, but we did today. Lane Public Health came and did a Narcan and opiate lesson and demonstration for all high schoolers. Made it into that this morning, and I actually haven't gotten any feedback about it, so for Tony to bring it up and say it was good is great. And then Boots also provides similar training for anybody who needs it if they weren't here for today. So I'll stop there. That was a long time. Sorry. Oh, and I'm gonna skip that because I didn't finish.
Can I ask about rolling readers? Is there an update?
It's starting on the 29th. Is that a Tuesday? Check your email.
Tuesday.
Check your email. There's one that went out that said, hey, 5th or 29th, and almost every response said 29th. I can look that up. Let's check after.
Okay.
And then
That went out to all the rolling readers?
Yeah. And I've seen responses. That's one of those ones that like I'm not tracking carefully, but it comes through. So some people, let's make sure you got it.
Yeah. And I was also going to ask about the Ruby Bridges Day. Is there a Facebook event page yet?
Vanessa just sent that to me on yesterday, and so that'll get posted hopefully by tomorrow. It won't be tonight. Tomorrow.
Okay.
So, and it's on November 13th. Thank you.
I can't be there.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like the one Wednesday.
I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm working out of town, so, and it's also my son's birthday, so. Yeah, so Mel's upset, everybody's upset.
I'll also share that for the accreditation process, the cognitive people are going to be on campus that day doing their state visit. And just it's on my calendar. So 13th of November. Yeah. So we have updates on the next board meeting.
Right. Finance, tech, maintenance. Karen,
She's got stuff going on. November 13th, we've got the facilities assessment people coming out from the state on the 14th and 15th. They're scheduled to come out and do that. Check, I think I mentioned that, the state's coming out and doing a full assessment of the buildings, including an ADA assessment to the district and stuff. So, be out then.
And Darren, what that just right now they're just doing an assessment. They're not like so that they can get like all data from all districts.
Yeah.
But it doesn't like have any impact on us at the moment.
My understanding of that, so the TAP grant that we got was kind of a precursor to this. Is the state knows that there's high facility needs across the whole state, and there's some money, like there's an Oxen grant and some other things and there are some places that haven't been able to pass bonds to get renovations like we have, right? And so to be able to do a full assessment and have that data for the whole state is then gonna allow for some honest advocacy to say, actually, here's the need. And some places are able to meet that through a bond and some places aren't. And so what do we do about it? So that's my understanding of the process.
Yeah, makes sense.
And those TAP grants allow this like version to say, now we're gonna do it everywhere, so we get that.
Are they required to turn their notifications on? That was hilarious.
My apologies, we're all human. Would you remind me what TAP stands for?
Technical Assistance
Program.
Program, and those are the ones that did that, like the asbestos,
Right.
and seismic and facilities. Yeah.
Which we're still waiting to have finished up.
Yeah.
Kurt some more. But, and you mentioned the flooding at the middle school and stuff, and Randy is shooting for, since we were talking to someone else about that, shooting for scoping the drains and stuff and shooting to work on.
Yeah.
on that. So,
Cool. Yeah. Rains are coming.
I mean, is it moldy smelling, mildewy, or?
Like, we don't need, like, that's my concern is like, that it's regularly damp, so like, you have mats on the floor and things like that. Like, we have, right now, we use it for storage, kind of a workspace, which is okay, because the floor doesn't get, it's like, pretty easy to just, but things that are in there that like, you don't want people like, breathing heavily, like, in anywhere that might have. So, that was why, yeah, so like, that's why I wanted to like talk more, just because I see it every day. Yeah. Yes.
and yeah, if it rains good, then yeah, you get, especially in that front hallway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wade through there.
Yeah.
Other things. Bills, there's first payment for the audit and some Chromebooks and stuff that were through on the SD grants. Plus repairs. Nothing real huge. Had the exit interview today for the audit, so it's about wrapped up. We'll see when they finalize it, when the part finalizes it.
It seems like actually.
Doesn't that seem like, like a lot much more efficient than normal
Well,
on their end?
I probably had, well, yeah, trying to think when I had the, I don't know when I had the exit interview last year. It's just a matter of getting the partner to look at it and finalize it and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Seems like usually they take a long time.
Last year was definitely better than
the year.
the year before the full state was backed up,
Yeah.
so I think they're
So,
catching up with themselves a little bit.
yeah, so nothing, just kind of the usual things I'll present. I'll send that out sometime. So that, interview in next month. Yeah,
I like that you have just as many Amazon line items as I probably do. Tally's bigger than mine.
Yeah, especially right now when we're buying equipment to support those needs, like we're going out, seeing what everybody has, and then often that's the price of purchasing them. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured I'd go back. I had stopped doing that full report that shows all the line items for a while, but I was like, now I'll go back to doing that, so you can see.
I just want to point out Kevin came into the water fountain and fixed the other one.
That's awesome. Okay.
I know, you see how quick she moves her phone back.
I know, like, did you
Fix
turn
the
that
thing.
on?
I forgot that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, I'm thinking of water. I talked to Randy today because looking at our water bill, we switched over to the well a couple months ago. But our water usage was still showing water usage, and he was like, shouldn't be using any. So he was looking at it today and thinks it might have been leaking, flowing through a little bit to our city water and stuff. So he's hoping he's got it fully taken care of now to close that off. And we're getting closer to being fully compliant with the well stuff. I'm gonna be doing a training at the end of the month because we need a operator that's been trained and stuff.
How many business, in school taking care of the well? You are really a unicorn. Man.
And some testing, we need to see about doing some testing for copper and lead and asbestos, in the water and stuff. So we need to-
Asbestos, you mean arsenic or asbestos?
Yeah, or asbestos pipes, because Randy said we do have some.
Don't we have to get rid of those too when we're doing an asbestos abatement?
It might not be the same. It's probably.
Because the,
Inhale.
Outside, you got asbestos.
I think the main issue is when it's there. So.
It's supposed to be limited.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you
Yes.
test it, and if it's got too much asbestos, then you replace the pipe?
It's like the
You
lead.
don't put asbestos anymore.
No.
Right, of course not.
It's been.
Or lead, or, yeah.
Right, of course not.
Yeah.
You buy what you cheapest, right?
So, okay, let me just back up for just 1 second. So are we, once we do all of that, are you saying that we're switching over to the well?
We're using.
We're already using it.
Well, okay, so I just
We've
remember.
done a bunch of testing on it and stuff. There's just addition.
Like
Yeah.
regular.
There's consistent testing that you have to do.
Right,
This is-
okay.
So,
I just remember way back in earlier conversations, I remember that Mapleton Water District had a talk to us, collective us, a little bit concerned because we're kind of one of their biggest clients, or we were their biggest client, and are their biggest client. And I feel like I remember hearing, like, we had given them some assurances that the well was just backup and we still planned on being on their water, or is that?
no, I think that we'd stay on that. Well, so we're continuing to pay our monthly.
That's the,
Oh.
there's two
Thing.
parts. There's water
Okay.
usage and being a customer.
Okay,
So I'm glad I was like, I don't quite remember the answer to this, but we're not like, hey, we're not part of the water district and separate, so there's a
Your
cost.
access.
Yeah.
okay, so we're
Those-
paying
And then there's the amount of
the
water usage.
water,
that's
okay,
less than
we're
that.
just not, okay, thank you
Yeah.
for that clarification.
Yeah.
All right, that was my question. That's fine.
Tech wise, power outage the other day. And
Turns out, somebody asked me, what, you can't do school without power? And I was like, no, we got water figured out, I drawn a line of power. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, any questions? So,
Don't ever leave us.
Yeah.
Okay, the consent agenda. Everyone look over all the last months of things.
And everyone ready for that?
Yeah. You were reading my mind.
All right, I move that we pass consent agenda items 1, 2, and 3.
All those in favor? Okay. Action items.
Okay.
Surplus property, middle school.
I'll mention that basically, I'll get rid of the lockers in the middle school. Surplus them, and basically, we're having staff, if there's anything in those 2 rooms that are mainly storage stuff. Figure out what of it we need to keep and have another, we've got a bunch of stuff in the hallway that we offered up to community and stuff. Gonna do one more day of that, I think, then get rid of stuff. And we're looking at, we need more space in the shop. And we need to get rid of equipment that's in the middle school weight room. So we're having someone come out and look at the shop equipment to figure out if there's any of it that is just completely irreplaceable, especially where a bunch of it's old and you could get. And so, that's maybe next month, bring up surplusing some of that. We don't have any of those programs, and really there's no point in having 3 or 4 programs worth of stuff when you can't even operate one.
What kind of equipment are you talking about? You say irreplaceable? You mean like old, well-made stuff that you can't buy now because they just made?
Well, you know, and that's the thing of, if there's anything that you talked about that, yeah, you just can't really get now. It would be expensive, well. I don't know about those. Personally, I don't know that any of it's not.
I mean, are they like old cast tools, like wood shop tools?
Yeah,
Well, we have the milling machine, which is enormous and heavy and old, and, you know, things like that, or the other one that's big and heavy is a planer, and
what is the plans to offer it to the community first, or offer it to your staff first, or how to? Somebody's
auction
gonna
it.
think
Yeah.
that, somebody's gonna wish they had access to something like that, if it's well made.
we'll auction it up.
Yeah.
With the stuff, make sure to post when we're.
yeah. And we've had, like the guy that runs the construction program kind of countywide came out and, I won't quote him on which machine, but he's like, that one you should just get a return on investment for the metal. Like, you sell the, melt it down.
Scrap the metal.
Exactly. And that, he's like, I don't think you could give that one. And that's not to say somebody won't take it or get it cheap on auction and use it, because there's a reason to, but in terms of like actually selling it, and this idea of like, I think some of the early conversations were like, well, if we get rid of that machine, we'll never get it back. We'll never get it back if we need it. And so in talking, it's like, that's not how people are building their shops now. Like, one, if you're getting new equipment, you're often looking at CNC machinery that has the computer connections too, so that you're teaching kids how to use that, because that's going to be their experience in shops. And then the other piece being, they're using smaller, like the drill press, right? You don't need a giant drill press in there. You need 3 small drill presses so that multiple kids can be doing that at the same time. And so just a different approach. And a lot of it we're not using. Like, I don't know that it will ever get used again, but it's taking up a lot of space.
It's
So-
something that, it's cool and neat and great to have, but if they're learning to do that thing and something they might potentially do in the future, that's not gonna be the equipment they use.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's
Exactly.
helpful context.
And chances are there will be, if it's something you add in later, there'll be funds
To get
fund a project like that.
and to get the fancy
To get the
new
equipment,
thing
yeah.
and make space by learning.
And the newer ones will take up less space than.
Yeah. I will say, I would love for somebody to say, because there's some buildings in town that I think if they were there, they could get used, right? So like, I don't know the names of these buildings, but down past the food share, there's like people do storage, and I know that building floods and stuff, and so there's some things to take into account. But if there was machinery in there and somebody would open up like a workspace for, I would love that. And there's a Cecil Vision was introducing me to somebody who is interested in running something like that. I have no clue if this is the machinery that they want to use for their vision, but I do think there's a community benefit to it. It's just not tucked in the corner where we're trying to make space for other community things too. So, and that's kind of where we're at. So if anybody knows anybody and wants to say like, actually, we'll take this and make it available for community use, full support. I will loan it to you for $1. Like, let's do that.
This action item that was for the middle school
Yeah.
stuff, this, what you're talking about is gonna be like.
That is later.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So I move we approve 8.1 surplusing property that we've discussed from the middle school building.
Second.
All those in favor?
And if you guys would like to take a tour, you can.
No, like, I think reviews every day. Like, great reviews.
You've offered it up multiple times
Yeah.
over the last 2 years, or
Yeah.
a year and a half, 2 school
Yeah.
years, and so I think that,
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yes.
And a lot of it got taken.
Yeah, computers and
Yeah.
desks and people, a lot of people have had eyes on it and been able to take what they want, and so I think this is great.
And speaking of getting rid of stuff, I have more computers sitting there, so if anyone knows someone who wants a desktop computer, I'm trying to get rid of some more.
You know, I take computers with me to Jamaica and give them away, so if, I'll talk to you.
Oh, that would be amazing.
How do you pack up?
And you would not believe my bag. I come home with nothing. I did.
You go to another so much.
Yeah.
That's a good. Just like taking it up off the back.
Yeah.
I think it's like,
He's like, take it out of your bag.
it's my carry-on. Take all your electronics out. They'll just like.
All of this stuff.
And then your shoes.
All right, co-op for wrestling with City Club. We're just saying to approve this, right?
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
so, we reached out, asked about the boys, they said, actually, all the sports we're doing are for boys. Would you look at girls wrestling too? We have at least one girl interested, they said, absolutely. This is the step to say, yes, on our end, they'll put it on their board agenda for their next meeting, which I think is in 2 weeks. And get it up and going by winter.
Cool. Thanks. Well, I move that we approve a co-op for boys and girls wrestling with Size School.
All those in favor? The PE credit policy proposal, I know you were here last month, Michelle. You wanna know what that is, or do you
I
know
got it
about
up.
it? Okay. So,
Thank you.
Did coaches get eyes on it?
So, Carrie did send that out. I'm waiting for a response. Carrie asked me to meet about 20 times over the last 24 hours, and I could not meet with her today. So, I sent a text. Can we go through the other ones? And if I get back here, my understanding is it went out and like with information, and we were waiting, like because I didn't hear anything negative. Yeah. My guess is it was like, yeah, sure, but I don't want to say that without confirming first, so I'm watching my phone there.
okay, so we'll move on to the policy review. First read, don't ask me how they go through, this is you, right? Like, I mean, we just went through them, right?
Yep.
I went through them.
First read check.
So, we're done with that?
Yeah.
All right.
Does anybody have
Yeah, like that's a lot of
it's
info, but we're like,
questions and review? Yeah, like.
did anyone have questions? I didn't have questions.
I asked my questions and got an answer outside of this, and I'm good.
So that's just first read. We wait till next. Yep.
Yeah, so
We're not buying you a lot of time.
yeah, but just to say, next month, this whole list would be under second read, and then, we'd add a new,
First read.
just C, section for first reads.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we did, yeah, some of these were for review, not change compared, but you guys got that. And then just naming for anybody publicly, the first, what was it, 4 were,
Additions.
they're policies that are either, required or highly recommended that we didn't have in place at all. And so that's why we moved those up to the top there. So,
Do you want us to move on to action items? That discussion items?
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
We can move on, and we'll come back to
We
that.
actually, we don't need to make a motion about the first read, right?
I don't.
So it shouldn't be in this.
I don't think so, yeah.
So that doesn't need to be on.
Okay. Well, what did we even say? Were we scratching that?
Yeah, we were
I think we're supposed to scratch. I saw it the other day and I forgot. That was.
We did that last
last year.
Yeah, we did that last one. Actually, yeah,
And
I think I said something that said, yeah, cross off 9.1 and 9.2, and then we were keeping 9.3 and 9.4, sorry.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll do 9.3. I sent out that email. It's not a good email. It's not a great attachment. I hated clicking through everything. And that was just probably her, like, here's some more info about it. And I said, okay, I will send that off to everyone and we'll review it at the board meeting, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna want you to come chat with us some way, shape, or form in person. So I'm doing the due diligence of her email and then I'll request a communication time.
Yes.
Yeah, I had to pick whether I was gonna dig through policies or read
Yeah,
all of that, and I picked.
and some of those things you clicked into were just not, it wasn't easy to read through and understand.
Yeah.
It
The thing, it didn't make, like, it wasn't clear enough, like, I need
Yeah.
somebody to lay it
wasn't
out.
like, oh, okay, this really informs me of this,
Yeah.
or this detail told this. It was really vague and not the info I felt like any of us were gonna be satisfied reading, so.
Also, it didn't seem clear to me a difference between starting a public charter school and transitioning your existing district to a public charter district. Like, I think it's two different, like, we talked a little bit about that last month, that, right, like, a school, a charter coming and saying, hey, district, will you sponsor us to be a charter school is a very different thing
And
than
a
we're
district.
Yeah. And so I think if she could come out and talk to us about what it means to be a charter district, there's, we know that they exist. What does that mean? I think would be much more informative versus here's all the charter school policies. Like that, we don't need that. Yeah.
And so I'll try to see, if she wants to come. I mean, ideally, it would be nice to have something here where we're all together. I don't know I don't know how long that would look like. I don't know what that'll be. So I don't know if it's something we have to, I'll get a feel. And if this is really not an option, then we'll just have it separate.
Yeah,
But get together or Zoom or whatever.
Yeah.
And Zoom would be fine too.
Yeah.
Because
I think so too, we can.
she's obviously not here, so yeah.
Yeah, and if that's where it went, we just post something that says we're meeting at this time, and
Let it be an open.
Special, and it sounds like maybe that might be a good way to get her to agree.
Yeah.
She's not kind of all.
And then we were just leaving that one on our facilities planning concerns just for any other little things that come up. I know you're talking about like, that included the stuff over here, like the things they're coming to look at, right? Like writing or ADA accessible stuff. And then did the electrician, like they came and looked at everything, did they schedule a time that they were gonna do things?
I told her I'd ask that, and I totally didn't.
Yeah, I don't know where they're,
The install,
Good
yeah,
question, yeah, Randy's been dealing with some family stuff, so he's
is that less?
Yeah.
down there a little bit.
I'm just texting them to say, can you give me an update on that tomorrow?
Okay.
And then I'll email that out.
Cause they came and assessed it, what they could do or whatever, right, to work a quote, and then it's like
Yeah.
finding the time to implement it. And I would hope first thing they could do it, like, I don't know what the first thing is, like before season, before
Yeah,
basketball season. Yeah. I think it's December.
I think December, like somewhere earlier, maybe December.
Well, I don't know, actually. Yeah, it'll be the tournament, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Which will
So
be
like,
good.
yeah, so that would be really awesome because we really need a lot of stuff that weekend. But I think like by December 1st would be cool just because I know Vanessa has that tournament the first weekend
Yeah.
in December.
So,
Okay. Well, back to PE, I don't know if she got back to you.
One of the things she was probably trying to talk with me about today was that incident.
Oh.
Cause, yeah, she was trying.
we share that here or not, but
So, with the senior project doing one of the facilities concerns, who funds that?
so I'm working with him on a cost sheet to then make proposals for that. So it could end up coming through ours, but right now the cost is, what I'm hearing is quite low, but also I want to see the full proposal first. And if not, then we can look back and do a fundraising component to that. So it depends on the funds.
Is he working with anyone enough where they would like
Donate.
donate because of what it is?
First day of school, he was on the phone asking for donations of things, and that day he was told, like, the first call was that, but that's where, like, this next phase is line item and out, all the things, and then we'll have those discussions of, okay, these pieces, who have we tried, and what do we do?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of it is, in this case, TJ, a senior,
How
how
would
to
you go
navigate
about
that whole process, and so I won't answer that question purposely until I get the next
Yeah,
piece that says
okay,
in the steps, so.
yeah, because I just haven't really seen a project where it's like, this is something that we need to do
Yeah,
as a school district, but then he's taking this on.
yeah,
So it's,
so there's a high chance we actually
okay,
pay that, but to the point of like, what's the lowest cost, did we
Yeah.
ask certain
And
places to get?
so kind of holding him accountable to try to find,
Yeah.
find avenues.
Exactly.
Okay, all right,
Yep.
very cool.
Okay, so if we move back to, I'll add a little more time to it. With that, it made me think about when you were saying like where was that coming from? What do they, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, but I've been curious all volleyball season, like when the concessions are run, like what?
Who are they
who's
going to?
host? Yeah, 'cause I mean, Kelsey and Cassie and Colette can work their tails off, but I'm like, I don't know why.
There is a agreed upon split for that runs through Jamie. I'd be lying if I'd just be making it up right now.
Because in the
But
past, like, I had always thought, like, class levels, like, whether it was seniors or juniors, whether seniors took it because they wanted to bulk up an account for the end of their year stuff, right? Or juniors because they're technically supposed to put on prom or something, or even if student council was doing it because they in our small district should man or host those things just because we're small. It's not a bigger school or certain classes take on different things, but usually it's always been like that. I know a lot of times over the years it's been like basketball games, so the basketball team's always trying to find a way to facilitate so they raise the funds for themselves, but I don't know what these girls are there for, so.
yeah, early on, when it was class-based, we weren't getting at least the year before me and my first year, there wasn't kids weren't showing up
Yeah.
wanting to run it, right? And so We switched to a team, teams doing it that way and raising money. I was trying to see if I had this to pull up quick, but there's one paragraph in this that's helpful. If your team would like to run concessions, please sign up on the calendar. Whatever team runs concessions splits profit from that evening with concessions 40-60. Please be sure you have at least one adult and 2 kids, blah, blah, blah. So there's a 40-60 split setup that Carrie's worked with that crew on, and that 40 goes to a larger account, and then the other teams, whoever's hosting that game, gets the other percentage of that. So hopefully that answers.
But that larger account,
that question. That is going
And then
to
I help buy these stuff.
so it's like, right, it's like putting back into the,
yeah.
yeah, costs, makes sense.
So like, we don't know who, like, is this, so like, over this whole season, is that split between like all sports?
Whoever signs up for that game to run it. So like boys
Well, I didn't see
basketball
the same
can
people in
host.
there. I only saw different kids in there just on Monday.
Yeah.
Like, I saw some boys in there, which I was like, oh, okay, the boys
Basketball.
basketball team, because I saw Jacob and Dom and people in there, but the other times, I swear, it is literally Cassie.
Or middle school,
Yeah,
or
and
middle
then
school.
Cassie has her, like, we'll have help from adults that want to like help her.
Yeah, like,
Like, little middle school. and, like,
or maybe it's like, because I'll see Tommy or Hadley or something,
Yeah.
maybe it's because it's middle school then, I don't know, like,
Yeah, no, this is a good question, it's like, but I don't know, we need to, but it is something that like, that at some point we'll wanna know.
Yeah, I will say that's a more recent email, October 9th.
Uh-huh.
So I think some of this is getting that in place. And I mean, and there's a ton of clarity in this email about what running it means and
oh, good.
who's
Maybe,
what and
maybe
all
these
those
questions
things.
stay
Yeah,
at
yeah.
that
Good.
level, and then it's being addressed.
Okay,
That actually
good.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
because I mean, and I think that,
I know that Cassie was doing one of them for like the Halloween carnival. Like,
Oh,
Yeah, raising money for different, that's good. So I think the larger,
That's great.
I think the larger pot is actually not just reimbursed, because it's splitting the profits 40-60. So I think it's to
yeah, so I would say it
events.
should be, that money should be taken out top, right?
I think it's to events that we run on campus that are.
So they are trying to
just-
name them each time,
Yeah.
you know, like, it's just that we don't necessarily know or see, but like, they are naming them.
Yeah.
And the more communicative I think they are about it, like, I know in the past, like I was saying, grade levels, you're not getting it, but like, in the past, but I mean, it's all in a part of large communication, like, if parents don't know, they can't choose to help with that either, you know, because a lot of times in, whether it's bigger districts or small districts, it takes the parents to help do it.
To run it, yeah.
You know, for responsibility reasons, but also the kids are participating in things, and
Yeah.
that's the
It
parents
might
get
be
back.
nice if like Kathy would put up like a sign that says like,
Yeah, tonight's concessions go to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea.
For the fall harvest carnival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna go for the varsity volleyball team.
And it's been really cool, the sponsorships that we got this year, and we have the sign of, like, you get in free tonight because of da-da.
That's been.
Yeah, and I think, I can't remember if it was a sporting event or something else we posted, but we put out like donations towards, I think it was towards the carnival actually.
Okay.
And got a significant amount of donations to like do that. So actually, I think I heard a rumor that some of that significant donation came from the room. Very nice. So, I actually forgot about that, so thank you.
Can we donate online?
Yes.
Yeah, they opened that up like years ago, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And speaking of donations, since I ate gingerbread the other day and got some money from Carol for, they sell stuff there, they got a little section there that they sell stuff and contributions go to the art program. And she was wanting to see how much total, so they could put up, you know, so they could mention how much they, you know, encourage more people, but, so they've done, over $1,800.
Wow.
nice.
That's so awesome.
Every time I stop for dinner at the gingerbread, she hands me a wad of cash. It feels so dirty. It goes here
Right.
every time. but it's awesome. Like, I'm always so grateful, but it's like, oh, hold on, and she goes and gets me an envelope. So it's really nice. So.
Is that something that, a Facebook
Like,
post?
thank you, yeah.
Well, no, I was just thinking about letting people know that they can
That it's
donate
possible.
online,
To the online one or the gingerbread or both?
the online one.
Yeah, we've sent that out a couple different times last year. I don't know that this year I've done it. Part of it is because I want to switch the website over. I'm way behind schedule, but as soon as that launches, I think we'll say,
Oh, that's a good idea.
here it is.
There'll
Here's
be
the new
like a
website.
donate
Here's all the
button.
things. But you can still do it now, and it's it'll happen soon.
But it would be cool to put out something that acknowledges
The
Carol.
gingerbread too. Yeah, and I know last year I think at least once I put that into something, but I think the more we
Yeah.
say, hey, it's a thing, and thank you. Yeah, it's a great thing they do. So I think it's chili right now. If you buy chili, the money goes to
Oh, so
the
they're
program. Yeah, I don't know if it's always the same structure, but last time I was in there, I got chili because she told me it goes to our thing. I was like, that sounds good. Sure.
Okay, so PE credit policy proposal.
So Carrie just texted me and so far the coaches that support it, so far the coaches support it that have responded. What percentage have you heard from? 1. So that is that. Yeah. So
If they give you an opportunity and.
we have sent it out and gone through like.
It's like, yes, I'll try to.
It's out there. I do think if we just move it over to, I don't know, it's up to you guys. We can just put it on next one.
Can I just ask you one question?
Yeah.
That's.
Like, how long ago was it sent to them? Like if it was like this week, like, oh crap, there's a school board meeting, it was done, like, last week. But if it was sent out shortly after our last board meeting and it's been out to them for 3-4 weeks.
Not, it's somewhere in between those two.
Okay.
Maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Okay.
I think it'd be fine to put it when we're,
have them.
but
Yeah.
I actually want to do that.
Yeah, I
It's
think they should have. If it's only been a week and a half, and then it was kind of the long weekend and then the day off.
Yeah.
Rather than
Like business.
Yeah.
Not a lot of time.
Yeah, no, I think, and we're not.
It'll be hard with our people to watch online if we're having multiple conversations.
Oh, it's sorry.
Yeah, we're trying to talk about.
We're back to cell phone notification.
We, just reviewing real quick.
Maybe you'll actually use it.
The ask was, coach it, like, how long has it been out? I think about a week and a half. So not the full month and not just a couple days, but I think just, we're not in a rush on it. We just need to have it at some point. If we're not gonna have it, I need to know that by next month so that we figure out another plan for second semester. But I think if we put it on next month's schedule, then we know they have plenty of time to respond and get a chance to actually have some discussion versus just through email. So.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions or discussions on now? We good to wait till we hear back?
I got a question. They're shutting down the Elliott Forest for commercial logging. Is that gonna affect the Mapleton School Board's finances? Does anybody know anything about that?
Well, can we
It was
finish?
on the radio. Jewel up north is already down, and that, they limited the Tillamook burn up here last couple years ago. So I'm just wondering if anybody knows anything about that.
I think during.
Have you been notified?
Yeah, during.
Have they said anything to you?
It was part of there was a group advocating for school boards to join in the, what is that called? The Common School Fund. You know, based on how the state runs things like Elliott and stuff, other items, they were comparing it to Utah. Because Utah at one point Utah had a common school fund also and wasn't making any money until they started running it like a business, as Drew talked about and stuff. But our common school fund makes a bit of money. So I don't know what they're talking about. But losing out, I don't know, we don't get much forestry money and it won't affect the common school fund, so no, it shouldn't really have an effect there. They opened up some, speaking of finances, they opened up some additional money, the high school success fund that we have. Because of the IRS regulation, they couldn't release some of those funds that they were planning. And so they're pulling some money from elsewhere in order to fully fund that with some additional money. They'll be releasing those amounts soon. But yeah, for the forestry stuff, yeah, we don't usually see much. One year that I've been here 6 years, one year we had a big forestry amount, but it just goes into the state pot really, I mean, and so it doesn't.
So we only see a bit of it.
Yeah, it helps everyone else and stuff, helps raise, well, and really it doesn't help raise everybody because it just means they spend less the state money. So, but yeah. One thing I just thought of thinking of finance, the state unemployment, the business managers had sent the OASBO, the business manager group, had sent out asking for information on how unemployment had gone over the summer and stuff. And I was like, well, why are you asking? Because we haven't seen anything yet, it hasn't been finalized. But it just, my bill for summer came through just today, since I was on looking at something else, and we paid a little over 10,000 in unemployment this summer and stuff. So for that new bill, because and PERS rates came out. That was since last meeting. Our rates going up 4% for PERS. Some districts are seeing a 10% increase.
Why are different districts different?
It's based on the districts that have site accounts, are seeing, a number of them are seeing a higher increase because the site accounts, aren't doing as much and stuff, and so they're getting hit more.
Got it.
And PERS was really disappointing in how much money what the return on investment that they had last year.
That's definitely in superintendent meetings and anything connected to money, that percentage is, we're lucky at 4%. We'll just say that. People are hurting right now.
They're talking some cuts if the legislature doesn't consider it heavily into the current service level stuff.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
So you
10% increase.
talk at those superintendent things, like, you probably haven't yet, but like, if he's just gotten like his unemployment amount, like, will that be something you guys all discuss?
Yeah,
Like
so
how much everyone's been out?
yeah, we have had conversations where people had guesses. I mean, without those numbers, we're kind of guessing. It's a definite need to address, but I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, now that the numbers are real, now the advocacy starts for like,
They have to go back.
Look at what you did to us.
yeah, and it's, like the intent of it is great. It sure, like,
It's gotta be
we wanna
another solution.
get- but also then that means what's that, 3 letters, QEM, quality education model, like, fully funding schools now just went up even higher, and we haven't even met fully funded, and so we keep raising, that kind of legislation keeps raising the cost.
And
For
obviously, potentially, in every district, that number,
Yeah.
But why not, it's gonna grow.
that's the thing, and the more people know about, 10,000, what did we budget for, 45 or something?
Yeah,
Was
if everybody
Yeah.
possible would have taken it, then I was figuring on possibly 50,000.
Right, somewhere between there, and so we're under that, but that's in year one where it's a thing, and so there's, what was the
Well, it's still
conversation?
$10,000, and that's it.
Right. But for next summer, we would be continue to keep that high end.
And it has to be budgeted for sure.
I just think overall, what that has cost all the school districts.
Yeah.
And we'll see what changes, because we're self-pay, I don't know what percent of districts are self-pay, if there's $1 of unemployment paid out, we pay a dollar, like, you know. Whereas some other districts are a percentage, like a lot of employers and stuff, they just have a payroll tax of whatever percent and stuff. And that's been, since I was just reading the other day on this, that's been frozen because of COVID. During the COVID years, the legislature froze those unemployment rates because they wanted people to be able to do share, so, you know, have your employee stay home and you share the cost with the state of, I can't think of shares.
Furloughing or something, right?
Yeah.
Caution.
Yeah, might be. We don't do, but those rates are now set to look back at from 21 to now, and those rates are going to be adjusted. And a number of districts have been seen varying. They get a letter at the summer conference. They were talking about, you know, their current rate was like 0.3%, and then they'd get a letter, your new rate is 5%.
Oh.
And they're like, did you miss the decimal point? And then they'd get another, oh no, we messed up, it's 2, and so just bouncing all over the place. And so we'll see where those districts land and stuff, but that could affect quite a bit too. So.
Did that answer your question then, John?
Yeah, yes.
And more.
Holds true. Because I don't know what happened to Jules, but they got community's got a lawsuit against the state of Oregon.
Yeah.
Because of that. I don't know if you've been following some of that.
Yeah.
They got some high lawyers from Portland, you know, so. But see, they're in the same, about 150 kids.
Yeah.
And then trying to think if Jewel.
This is the second year, I think it is. Last year it went down, so
Yeah.
this is the second year.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what
I don't know why,
the.
I've been watching that, but I haven't understood why that affects them, you know, in a different way, like, than it is, so.
I mean, it's the timber money.
Well,
Yeah, that's what it is.
but why
I mean,
for us, it kind of balances.
we're trying to
out.
shut
We-
down
We
till
might get
burn
that, but we have to
forests.
get that,
That's what we're trying to do.
you know, like,
Right.
yeah. But, no, I don't know why. It would be different.
That forestry money is variable. Like, I don't know what makes it variable, but some places get a significant amount more than others.
No, but then they don't have to give it back, like, I mean, we don't
Yeah.
have to technically give it back, but it balances out.
They
Like,
could
we don't,
be less.
I think we get less from another source if
Yeah.
we get that, so I just don't, that's why I'm not. Understanding is not true for them.
Jared's telling it. This is Jewel specific. just-
Well, and so that's the thing, yeah, Jewel, they,
Really?
I can consider that.
I mean, Jewel, they get a boatload of timber money
Yeah.
and stuff. And so they don't,
Yeah.
really get any of the state school fund. So their state school fund grant is zero, and so they,
That's why.
Yes.
and depending on how they, so I think in the past I've mentioned this, in when I taught in Wyoming, our district had natural gas, they were a wealthy district and stuff. And they did kind of what I did when we got that one timber money. You know, we got 500,000 in timber money or so. But the state isn't going to fine you if you don't declare that. And so our district over there, you sit on that revenue for a year until you have to pay it, and you earn the interest on all that money.
Oh, yeah.
And Jewel could be doing something,
I mean, that's what they're
you
doing.
know, you sit on that money, and yeah, I don't know if it's Jewel, but yeah, I know of, yeah, some district that is big timber money, and they have teacher housing, you know, they have some pretty nice stuff because of it, and so, yeah, I can see why they.
So the difference is they don't have the state school fund to balance it out, and we do. Ish.
Well,
It's not that simple.
and really, I mean, they do because that money goes into the state school fund, they get a certain amount, although I don't know if any of it is,
They just get state money.
Yeah, like they would, yeah,
yeah.
it does seem like it.
Well, because, yeah, in one of my meetings, there's been a business manager that talked about, yeah, eventually, yeah, we might have to end up getting some state school fund money, but it sounded like they were way over what they would normally get from state school fund and stuff.
Right, like they already get more. Right.
So
They're choosing
take
house, yeah.
Any, page. Any comments from the board? No comments. Okay, then I'll do it right this time, not say we're done. Entertain. A motion. Thank you. Anyone second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, John.
Really, because I was just doing.
Controls. Video and notifications and everything.
Cause yeah, when I talked to this,
I have them all
talked to Lindsay